So give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, so you can take yourself some garlic and chive crackers like I'm gonna use. I've used about 6 of them. I've already begun crushing them. Or you can use these garlic and cheese croutons. I'm not gonna be using them for this recipe, but if you don't really like the taste of crackers, this is another option. And you would still just take about a handful, I would say about 10 of those, and then grind them down like how I'm grinding down my crackers. So you're gonna take a spoon and just grind it down until you have very, very small pieces. So like I said, I took about 6 of them and I just got a head start just to save a little bit of time in this video. Mama. All right, so now that you've got it grinded down real fine, it's okay that some of the pieces are a little bit chunky. That's just gonna give your fish a little bit of a crunch. So we're gonna take flour. You can use white flour or wheat flour. Anyone will work for this. I'm using white flour because that's just what I have on hand at this time. And so just enough to cover the top part of the plate. We're gonna mix that all in with our crackers. Make sure you mix that in real good. And after you've mixed that in with your crackers, we're gonna start adding seasoning to your flour. I know that sounds strange. I don't know if everyone else seasons their flour, but I definitely do. Instead of actually seasoning my fish, because I know that the flour is just gonna cover it in the first place. So I'm starting off with my Himalayan pink salt. And I'm just gonna be mixing as I'm adding in my seasonings. Yeah, it's okay if it gets a little bit messy. I'm just gonna wipe off my counter later. Then we have our garlic powder. We're gonna add a little bit of that. I don't measure it just because I'm just used to doing things by eye. And I kind of have a good eye for this at this point. So just watch how I do it and try to like guesstimate your amount. Just the key is not putting too much. So we're just gonna do a couple flakes that are just gonna go over the plate. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of oregano. Oh, that was minced onion. And then a little bit of oregano. And then my crushed chili pepper, or red pepper, my bad. Make sure you're going by the small side just so you can have control of how much you're putting in. And then we're going to add some salt-free seasoning. Not too much. Don't forget to stir it so that it's all mixing very evenly and finely. And last but not least, I'm going to be adding lemon pepper. All right, so that's how I season my flour. And we're just gonna mix that up and put that to the side for now. So while I let my fish defrost, I like to let it sit there in a little bit of lemon juice and just let it soak up the flavor. I'm putting that to the side while I get my yolk batter made. So I'm gonna take an egg, crack that, put it in there, and then obviously I'm gonna throw this in the trash in a little bit later. We're gonna add a little bit of ground paprika. I always keep opening the wrong side. So just a little bit of that, not too much, as you can see. And then some cayenne pepper. Just about the same amount of paprika that you would have added. And then some basil leaves. And then after I have that mixed together, I'm gonna grab myself a fork and mix that in. And so now that all that is mixed up, we're going to grab our flour and then we're going to start dipping our fish into our flour until it's fully coated, and then we'll be getting ready to cook. So one of the most important things about cooking is you don't want your food to burn. So make sure that you're always cooking at a low to medium heat, cook a little bit higher than that just because I want my stuff to be crispy. I'm actually using grapeseed oil. The second most important thing about frying things is your oil, because whatever oil you use is what's going to have the flavor in whatever you're making. I don't know why, I just really like using grapeseed recently. I've used all kinds of oils. I also have olive oil and coconut oil, and I cook with those as well. But this is what I've been using to cook my deeper dishes. The important part when you're frying is, I learned this when I was in cooking class, was like if you don't keep anything in your pan when the oil is by itself, then for some reason it'll fry all the good parts of the oil and carbonate it, and it's like a bad thing. Also, once you put something in there, you can check if your oil is getting hot. So I put some minced onion in there, and as you can see, it's starting to sizzle. So I'm going to go ahead and start my two-step process to battering my fish. So like I said, I have my egg and I have my fish. So I'm going to just dip and coat my fish into the egg. I'm going to move my spoon out the way. And we're going to put that in the flour. And then we're going to dip it in the egg one more time. And we're going to dip it in my flour batter once again. And then we're going to place it in the frying pan. Now, there's two parts to this. So that is the first part that I've showed you. For my other part, I'm going to show you in just a second. As you can see, it's coming along really nicely. Make sure you're not letting it cook too brown, and you're flipping it every so often. So when the other side gets to about this brown, make sure to flip it so that you're cooking it at a very steady rate. So I'm not sure which one of my parents I got this method from, but you're once again going to take the fish and you're going to baste it all the way, and make sure you get it really good with the egg, because we're not going to do it a second time. And this is for those of you who have like less time on your hands. And just drop the fish in the flour batter and close that up. And then we're just going to shake it up real good. And so once it's shaken up real good, then you'll be able to take it out. And it'll be fully coated. And you can just drop that in there right next to it. So you can use whichever one of those methods that you like best to cook your last piece of fish, and everything should come out pretty good. Thank you. Now, don't try this unless you're highly confident. Take a little bit of your lemon juice and just squirt it on there while it's cooking, just for extra flavor. Depending on how much you like spice, you can add a little bit of Cajun pepper also to the top. I keep saying Cajun, I mean Cayenne. I'm gonna take some lemon pepper. And just let that simmer for a little bit longer. Don't forget you can also do it to both sides. You can also keep it on the one side if you want. It's up to you. The onions that were in the oil before have started to attach themselves to the fish. Kind of see the little crispy pieces of the crackers alongside. Who have went ahead and flipped your side. For your other side, you can go ahead and put the red pepper, the crushed red pepper on this side, just to balance it all off, because you don't have to use both seasonings on both sides. And I'm also going to take my garlic powder and just sprinkle a little bit on that. So after doing this, I'm only going to be flipping my fish one more time. So after that, I'm going to be adding my last fish to the pan. I did go ahead and use my shaking bag method because I already had the flour in the bag, so there was no point, might as well. So after that, I'll come back and you guys can see the finished result. And hopefully, if you are doing this video now, we're eating together. If not, go try it the next time you get some fish. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys what kind of fish I use. Usually I use this method with tilapia, and this time I used this sway fish fillet. They were on sale at where did I get them? I got them from at Save-A-Lot. It's called Crystal Harvest Sway Fillets. They kind of have the shape of tilapia, but they're not tilapia, obviously. It says it contains 25% of solution of water, potassium citrate, sodium triphosphate, salt, and they're a product of Vietnam. So hopefully they taste really good. This is my first time cooking with them, and I tried a different method that was meant for a different fish, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out good. So if you guys do want to make this and you don't want to make it with this specific type of fish, this also works for flounder and tilapia, and I've also done it with salmon, but I'm not the best fan of salmon fried, so I would bake it if I was you. But you can also use the same seasonings, just minus the flour. Really good for you, and if you haven't tried it, make sure you try it and make sure to share my recipe, because you never know who might like it. Thank you so much. Hey guys, who's ready to learn some colors? Soft and crunchy, just like I like it. Now, after you grab your favorite hot sauce, don't forget to grab a plate and subscribe.